Good morning, everybody. It's Timidity. I just wanted to say I'm kind of navigating that weird space where I kind of have friends but kind of don't. And I'm sure multiple people have been through that before, where maybe you get off, like maybe you've been cut off by people, maybe you've cut off people, and now you're just kind of figuring out, like, okay, what's the next steps? Also, why am I covering my hair? You've seen my hair before. Who cares that it's a mess? I don't have friends. Who's gonna give a shit if my hair is fucked up? We're getting the nihilistic Tamia back, baby. Yeah! Woo, woo, woo! Also, this just kind of happens to my hair when I sleep. Well, whatever. So, the fun thing about having friends but not having friends is that the good news is you don't have to worry about offending anybody because no one gives a shit. The bad thing is, like, you kind of want people to give a shit to an extent. Like, something embarrassing happened. I remember I was on Instagram and I posted, like, a Ask Me Anything. Like, anything at all. And then I left it up for 24 hours, but then, like, on the 23rd hour, I checked. Because I was like, ooh, maybe everybody asked me a bunch of questions. I'm wondering, like, maybe there's stuff people want to know. I'm giving people the platform to, like, say good things, say bad things, talk shit, be nosy, anything they want to know. And I forget the numbers, like, between 40 to, like, 70 people. And guess how many questions I got? One single question. And it was simply someone I have not talked to before saying the words, "Are you happy?" I mean, I was before I put the question asking stuff up, yeah. And then afterwards, it's like, okay, fuck all y'all niggas. Or it's weird. It's like social media is strange because, like, just the other day, someone, like, one of my friends, they helped me escape when my mom was, like, being abusive. They helped me get stuff out of her house and stuff, which I was legally able to do, by the way, but I'll talk about that later. And they told me, "Oh, I love you. Oh, happy 3 year anniversary to, like, escaping your mom's place. I'm so proud of you and how you've grown. I love you." And I thought to myself, "Oh, so you love me, but you saw me, like, post online about how fucked up my abusive relationship was and you didn't give in any insight. You saw how I was struggling like hell. You didn't give a single shit." Like, I tried my best to, like, I'm not saying, okay, sorry, I'm a flawed person too, so I'm trying not to cast too many stones with a glass house. But when they were going through it, even though I did not, it's one of those things, they were going through grief and I don't know how to, I'm not someone to come to when it comes to grief. I'm able for like 99% of things, that's the single 1%. Like, grief is just one of those things I do not know how to handle. But I was still trying to lend an ear when I could and just, like, talk when I could and be nice. But it's like, oh, meanwhile, here I am on the other side, and here you aren't reaching out whatsoever, just not giving a single shit. And then you're daring to say that you love me. I don't fuck with that. Because it's like, oh, I was out there crying on the internet about how I was having knife fights with my fucking ex before one of my recent exes, and how he tried to sexually assault me, and that shit was traumatic. And then instead of doing shit about it, you just didn't. It makes it kind of hard to believe. But I will say this, when I was at risk of eviction, they were one of the people who was trying to reach out and get me resources. So it's like, I don't I don't know. It's one of those weird checks and balances thing. And it's like, how are you supposed to know when a friendship is a friendship or just like an acquaintanceship? And how often are they supposed to prove to you that you give a fuck? Because there's been times, I remember once I just fully was off the internet for like 2 months in a row, and I was the type to post every fucking day. And no, like, a bunch of people just didn't even notice I vanished. And so I went online and I said, hey, guess what? All of you motherfuckers who just, the last thing I posted was actually pretty fucking terrifying. And then none of you gave a shit or noticed that I was gone, despite all of you lurking my page every single fucking day. So all of you can kill yourselves. And then even one of my friends hit me up and was like, oh my god, we gotta kill ourselves? And I said, yeah, because fully, just to say it, if someone that you cared about was suicidal and shit, and you watch them every day of your fucking life, the jokes, the memes, the storytelling, all that, and then they're going through it, you don't check in, they're gone for a month, you don't check in, they're gone for several months, you don't check in, then at that point I don't really give a fuck about what happens to you either. And it's like, okay, now it's just mutual, so I'm not gonna send you memes anymore, I'm not seeing you as close, and fuck you. And then that person started being a little better. They're like, okay, shit, I'm sorry. And then, like, eventually they tried to reach out to with like a few things here and there, but definitely not as close as we. I don't know. It's just depressing. People grow apart, I know, but it's still like, I'm one of those people where it doesn't matter how much time has passed. If you're out here on the internet, like crying, struggling, suffering, I'm the first person to be like, oh my god, what happened? Like, one of my friends went online and they were like, oh my god, I almost got attacked by a bear. I was one of the first people to respond, like, holy shit, what the fuck happened? Oh, tell me all about it. Are you okay? You need anything? But then, oh, nothing I needed. Nothing for me. Just nothing. They didn't give a single fuck. I'm trying to also self-reflect, like, okay, do I feel like I messaged people back when I did get messaged in the past by them, or like do I feel like I'm still like fully reciprocating certain energy that maybe I've forgotten about? I'm trying to make sure it's also that too. So I'm also trying to hold myself accountable and be like, okay, like, how about we message people more often and this and that, so that then it's more of a consistent friendship, and then they'll feel more comfortable reaching out. And if they still don't reach out, if I'm in duress or still don't give a fuck, but still like lurk and do weird shit, then I can just officially cut them out to save myself the stress. Because if you're surrounded by people and you're still wondering if you're alone or not, then congratulations, you are alone, but you just have a bunch of split ends and dead ends that you just need to. Also, most recently, I had, like, how do I put this? I would have friends that could get me out the house, but they were not inherently good people. And so after some point, I was just like, okay, sure, I like talking to this one dude, but how many times is he going to be really passive aggressive and rude and mean about the whole sex worker thing? How many times is he going to be fucking insulting and offensive as possible, like, and disrespect, like, my boundary in that way or that way? And, or it could be like, okay, I'm hanging out with this other dude and he seems great, except for the casual racism and except for his weird passive aggressive, actually disrespectful sexual attraction to me, paired with his disdain for me being a sex worker, and like envy towards anyone who I see that is not him. And I guess, like, and amongst other things, so it's kind of like something I struggled with a lot last year that I've talked about in depth is like, how do you know when something is too fucked up? How do you know when you're supposed to, like, how do you know when a relationship is too bad and you're like supposed to leave or allowed to leave? How do you know when a friendship is bad for you and that it's not just like someone with quirks or someone with insecurities that you'll hope they grow out of, or someone who's working on their communication skills and needs to grow? Like, how, what point can you just truly be like, fuck this person, fuck all you stand for, and get the fuck out of my face? Because I'm one of those people, I have a lot of love in my heart and affection and care in my soul for people of many types. And I did that recently. I mentioned it in one of my most recent videos, the ones about free will and like how people are dumb as fuck with their free will. I mentioned all the friends I had, or as many as I could, and those were the same people where it's like, okay, here I am on a lonely fucking night. I'm asking if we could talk. You say that you're unavailable. Oh, but you claim that you care about me. Or it's the opposite. It's like, here's someone who's always around to talk to me when I need it, but also they are very disrespectful in this way. They don't listen to shit I say. They're not very intelligent, and they're also fucking a pedophile. And so then it's like, okay, like, once the fucking a pedophile thing happened, because it's like, girl, you can't cry to me that it's like, oh my god, he was secretly double, like, going behind my back and seeing this girl in a high school who was like barely legal and like, and all this, or like, how do I put this? He claims that they, oh, it's a long story. Let's just say it like this. If you're someone who wants to fuck a high schooler and you're like in your 30s, and it's like, wow, you, that's just so fucking pathetic, and you're disgusting and creepy and gross, and he's a narcissistic abusive asshole. Anyway, and let's just say the girl went back to the dude anyway, despite, and I just knew right then and there. It's like, okay, I could handle, like, that's when you start realizing, okay, some things are flaws that I could handle, some things are quirks that I can handle, and this is where you cross the fucking line. Like with my buddy, he's someone I talk to around my area. In a nutshell, with him, I was like, okay, but listen, I can handle that you are rejection sensitive and like tend to ramble and maybe have a weird attention span and can sort of shift topics mid conversation without even realizing that I'm not catching up to you. Like, he's the type of guy where it could be like he's talking about all that, his romantic interests and all that, then the next thing you know, he's saying, I love her so much and I care about her and I can bench 250 fucking pounds and I'm really good in the gym. And then I'll be like, and then he'll just start talking about the gym totally seamlessly, and I'll be like, oh, okay, like, that's something I can handle. Like, okay, like quirks and flaws like that, okay, whatever, that's just you. But then I have to recognize that the bad stuff also makes you you. So just like how you're the sweet guy who sometimes gets me wine at comedy events and treated me to cookies when I gave you some really good advice, and like I can always come to you for a late night or free entry to like that one spot you work at. They're very sweet. But then the other hand is like, oh, but you're also the dude who likes to be very insulting, who does not respect sex workers, who will not ask me on a date but still feel entitled to me romantically or sexually despite also never asking me out, who wants to be degrading and who wants to like keep messing up my boundaries and pretty much acting like I deserve to be dehumanized and that I'm just some evil gold digger slut who uses men as wallets. And anyone who knows me, even y'all, know Jesus, or at least usually know. I care about men as people. I've talked about that very openly. Like, if all I do is say, hey, I'm pretty much celibate, I would only have sex with someone if I was in a long-term relationship where they actually proved that they cared about me and also could provide for me and give me like a really nice future. Ideally, like if they were just really showing that they were like a caring, loving human being, I'd have sex with them after a few months, or if they wanted to pay me straight up. But even then, I probably would not do that. And then you're just out here like, oh, so you're just some gold digging bitch, huh? A guy can't see you unless he has a fucking $1,000 and gives you real gold. And then he would just keep, and it would be weird. Or I could say good news about myself, and then he'd be like, yeah, okay. And it's like, oh, that's not a good sign. So you want to, and I just confronted him. I was like, it's okay if you want to just use me as a therapist. We don't have to be friends. You can just vent to me and I'll keep it a secret. But what you're not going to do is you're not going to have me talk to you about like, ooh, I got this photo shoot planned. I'm doing modeling. I got this date with this cool guy. I went to this show. It was fun. My finances are going up. Like, you can't hear me say good news, and not even in a gloaty way, but just like being happy. You can't see me happy and then just roll your eyes or say something snarky or try to shit on me and then still have the nerve to say you're a friend. As I try to lift you up and say, no, you're worth it as a person. You're a good comedian. You just need to try this, and that. Because no, now you're just a fake ass bitch. And because of that, paired with the other stuff I mentioned in this video, I don't consider him a friend. It's like, okay, you want to act like you're so different from all the other fucking horny entitled perverts with no backbone that I've met, but you're doing all the same shit, just with the thinnest veil known to man, and trying to trick me into thinking that you're anything else, as if. And I'm not gonna say much other than let's just say he was the type of person to always be like, oh my god, I just have so much rage and muscle and I want to protect anyone vulnerable, and I always have rage in me. I want to beat the shit out of anyone who does wrong, especially towards me. But then he knew his friend got raped. And then suddenly he's like, oh, well, that's not my business. That really disgusted me. And I'm kind of getting better at just being like a fan of my own company. Like, I don't know, I'm still debating on how I see social media. Like, do I see it as a tool to brag, to show people that I'm worthy? It's like, oh, look, I have the fancy dinner, I have the cute clothes, I'm indeed an attractive and interesting and engaging person, and you should love me. Is it like that? Or is it just like, hey, I want to broadcast, like, nice things that I admire, and then other people can admire them as well, and if they don't, I don't care. Because I do often, when I do post on my Instagram or whatever, I often don't check my message requests. I probably should if I want to make friends, but then again, I say some mean shit in Instagram comment sections sometimes, and I also don't check my notifications or replies on comments because I usually just figure that everyone's not very intelligent. Yeah. So sadly, it's like, okay, because I'm closing myself off online, it's like, okay, if someone says something witty or engaging or does want to talk to me on Instagram, I'm ignoring them because I'm afraid something bad will happen. What's the worst that'll happen? They'll insult me, they'll call me a whore or busted or stupid. And it's like, if I am, then I should not be offended. And if I'm not, then I also should not be offended. So, yeah. And then it's understandable if I don't want to check replies to comments, but at the same time, sometimes people do just say the most, I'm not trying to say the R word, but something akin to that. They say very stupid fucking things. And it's like, like I remember I could just post a harmless fucking comment on a fucking, and I remember I started being hostile on Instagram comment sections because I just was like, you know what? Life's too short. Like, it could be a cute video of some cupcakes, and I could be like, oh my god, I love this shade of pink, and then here comes some fucking disgruntled fucking 15-year-old who's in the closet getting ready to totally shit on me because I dared to express happiness on the internet. And then that's when I say some mean things. And then that's when I have to ignore the 138 replies I get. I think, how do I put this? I'm in that weird place where it's like, I think I'm finding comfort in the fact that I am cutting off people and I am being ruthless about it. Instead of having like a bunch of straggly ended people where it's like, okay, you're sending me memes but don't want to talk to me. You say you love me and care about me, but you also aren't engaging with anything I do, but you're watching. But like, if I were to say, hey, can you like this fucking Instagram post so it can be boosted to the algorithm, you won't do it. If I say any jokes, you won't laugh. If like, it's just people like that shit is annoying. That shit's annoying. So I gotta make sure I'm actually. I also need to make sure I'm actually responding and prioritizing to the people who do check in on me. Since I think I have noticed that they've stopped, and I don't want them to feel like they're just talking to themselves. I just genuinely get so wrapped up in my own bullshit sometimes, good and bad, that then I forget, like, oh, right. It's not like always gonna be like 40 to 100 people ignoring me or people who say they're close to me not giving a shit. Sometimes it's going to be like maybe a few will reach out, but I just haven't responded to their messages yet. Also, like, I just gotta do the tactics I used to do where it's like, okay, to figure out if this person wants to talk to me or not, I will initiate. And then if they give me some sort of shitty ass energy, then simply put, I just say, fuck you, eat shit, and die. I'm just kidding, not and die. Or unless I really hate them. And then I go on with my fucking life and continue being happy, and then ignore them if I see them in public. Simple as that. But I'm doing better at cutting people off because it's like, who you associate with will fuck you up more than you think. And I kind of have realized it's like, okay, I'm using words that I usually don't use or otherwise would say is offensive to say. I'm being a little bit more problematic. I'm doing more of this, doing more of that. I'm tolerating things that I absolutely shouldn't and that I know to my core are wrong and that I would not want to be around and do not want to encourage. And I have to think about to myself, like, oh, okay, if this person is so called a great boyfriend, then if I were to have a kid with them right now, could I trust? If my kid came out exactly like them, would I be happy? No, then I should probably leave that person and put myself out there until I meet someone who actually is what I want. Do I feel like this friend would be there for me in a time of crisis? If they are, cool. But do I feel like that they've been there for me consistently? No, then they don't have to be a current friend. They could just be some acquaintance who I know from the past. It's like once you have the epiphany that you actually should have been cutting off people a long time ago, your life gets easier. Because it's like, oh, okay. So it's not normal to fantasize about slamming that bitch's head into a corridor multiple times after she makes me repeat, like, an answer to a question for the fourth time in a row because she's not very smart. Oh, okay. Maybe this is a sign that I need friends who I feel actually listen to what I say and are intelligent enough to comprehend what I say as well. It's like, okay, maybe this friend isn't the best friend if I have to keep certain life parts of me secret, because, or like if I ask for a favor and they can't do it and it's not something unreasonable at all, then maybe this person's not someone who I should give a shit about whatsoever. Sorry, I can't tell if I'm recording or not. I hope I was recording. I can't tell which button is which. Jesus. So I guess I feel like free, and it's like, but also empty. It's like, okay, it's kind of like now I'm truly screaming into the abyss. And is it a cry for help that I'm screaming, or is it a cry of joy? Because I can say anything, do anything, and not hear an applause. And if I hear a silence, well, maybe someone hears me, or maybe they don't. But it is, I can figure out if it's just for me or not. And I get to live my life just for me, whether these bitches like it or hate it. And I don't need someone else to call me pretty because I already do that. I don't need someone else to say mean things to me because, well, I don't need that. And yeah. And it's like, wow, who would have guessed it? Turns out that when you aren't gonna pop a blood vessel over the friends that you keep, you're actually living a nice life. I remember specifically, I hung out with these two dudes at a bar, and they were talking about the guy, like that one specific rapist in my area in the comedy scene, and they were defending him and also shitting on sex workers. And it's been real easy to cut off people after that because now I get to hear which ones are like, oh, he's allowed to have an opinion. Fuck you. Oh, he's allowed. Well, what? He's still a friend of mine. He's so dear to me. He's so funny. Fuck you. Oh, well, I gotta keep ties with him, but he's not a bad dude. Oh, get the fuck out of my face. Because it's like, no, the people in my circle who have common sense would never in their fucking life Never in their fucking life defend rapists or defend people who defend rapists. Because that's the mindset that makes small towns the way they are. Because if you got a whole bunch of people that are like, oh yes, I know this guy does evil, heinous things, but I'm still gonna shake his hand and laugh with him and get beers with him, despite how he totally is fine with like sex workers getting beaten up and raped, like, or like promiscuous women being like brutally raped or assaulted because he can blame it on her being slutty. Just know that doesn't fly with me and any friends I have who are real friends. That would just, yeah. Also, I remember recently I went to this comedy show and I was behind the scenes with all the other comedians, and I had some espresso and vodka in my system, and nothing bad happens aside from I was having a great time. Like, my personality fully melted, but I was still like, okay, here I was thinking that the problem was me, that I was just too shy and reserved for these people, and that I wasn't doing enough to make them like feel like they could truly bond with me. Or maybe they needed me to be small because that's the only way they could digest me as a friend. But then once I was big and open and full of energy and asking questions and grooving and having fun, suddenly they were getting meek or cold or rude or stoic or however you fucking pronounce it. And they were the ones who were like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, or like just being. So it's like, I see. You want someone who is sweet and meek and will stroke your ego, but once that person has a personality or a life, whether like if you like it, you'll be fucking made to feel insecure by it, and if you don't, you'll still insist to try to keep the person around. I don't know. People are strange. And I just am like, I have a low tolerance, so I'm cutting off a bunch of people. I'm like, you know what? I need to tell more people to go fuck themselves. I need to just tell more people shit straight off the bat. I hit up fucking this one dude, JC. I hit him up. I was like, hey, I only like to be friends with people who give a fuck about themselves. So you need to actually start taking care of yourself because you can't keep talking to me about the same shit that you refuse to change in your life and then talking about how you're getting like increasingly more like prone to like something bad happen, and I care about you. So I care that you could have something bad happen to you, but you don't even care to try to like stop the process. And so please work on that. But I also am just like making it just like distancing him anyway, because it's like, sorry, dude, if you can't keep complaining about a lack of housing or this or that or this or that while also not trying to improve your life quality whatsoever. It's like, hey, Seamus, you can't fucking keep trying to talk to me about how you think everyone in the comedy scene fucking hates you for no reason and that you're not getting booked because everyone's out to get you. No, it's because you're not fucking funny, you don't write jokes, you don't work on jokes, you don't record yourself. You don't do shit. It's like, hey, Tom, you were fucking great until you would not stop trying to hint about how badly you wanted to fuck me to a very, very creepy and pathetic extent instead of just actually doing the nerve and asking me out in a romantic context in the way that I've told you I only accept. While also shitting on me for being a sex worker, like, yeah, I'm not gonna see you in a positive light anymore. Plus, I've seen the way you fetishize black women and your fake gangsta fucking wearer personality. Fucking ew. It's like, hey Sam, you were a great girl bestie and I truly do care about you, but when you went back and said that you were out there doing double penetration with the nigga who was making you cry like a few weeks before because he was cheating on you with someone who may or may not have been a minor, like, that's strange behavior. So that shit just gets on my fucking nerves. Like, that, it just does so bad. But I guess it's like, so I'm just figuring out how to navigate it. Like, how for like for example, like I said, how far out does someone need to be attached to the whole situation? Like, obviously, if a guy rapes a woman and I don't know him, but I know what he did and I'm disgusted by it, and then someone else is like, "Oh, free Tito, he didn't do anything. He's not a." I have the right to cut you off as a friend, and then I also believe I retain the right to also cut off people who are defending the "ooh, free Tito" guy, because it's like, screw that. I know someone can bring up the whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp situation, but then again, we also got more information that proved, oh yeah, Johnny Depp is an extremely creepy fucking rapist and also an extreme racist. So it's like, yeah, she's still entirely like, if anything, a bunch of stuff was confirmed as true. So yeah. So I guess I try to be careful because I know I cut off a bunch of people about the Johnny Depp thing and then about the Amber Heard thing and then back to and then so it's complex. But at the same time, I see it like this. If you know a guy and then It's just weird. It's just weird. And it wasn't even skepticism. It was like, or like, it was just full on disbelief and then also making excuses on that guy's behalf. And I didn't like that. And also, I'm just like, okay, if this person doesn't want to hear these details about my life, or they're insulting this part of my life, or this, like, I think that's when it definitely is like, I can cut them off. Because if you can't, like, you can't just be like, it's like, that's not gonna make you a friend. You can be an acquaintance at best. But if you're someone who's like, oh yeah, I like Tamia, aside from like when she's emotional, and aside from when she's sad, or aside from when she is happy, or aside from her sex worker element, or aside from her like obsession with jewelry or gemstones or succulents, or how she acts when she touches the fucking sunlight, or when I don't know. Just, I feel like I want to be loved for me fully, and I'm willing to accept people fully, but I guess I'm now realizing sometimes some people can't be accepted fully for who they are, and sometimes those same people will not accept you back. So it's best that you don't even touch bases. It's best that they had a role in your life, they played it, and they can leave gracefully. I just have a lot of disgust whenever someone still tries to say they're a friend, because it's like, oh, but when I was holding a knife to my wrist on my fucking Instagram story, you weren't being a friend. You saw that. You did not do anything to show you cared. You just ignored it and then sent a meme the next day. I don't give a fuck about you. So yeah, that's how I feel. Sometimes I'm like, do I want to get off social media? But I like to post regardless, just because, maybe to show that I'm better than people. Maybe just to be like, okay. Even at my craziest, most loco moments of screaming with rage and holding a knife to my wrists on Instagram, I'm still better than you. I can go out on a random evening, get dressed up, and go out on a fancy dinner date with someone totally new, and then get all these extravagant gifts from all my different lovers, and feel better than you. Or maybe it's just to prove to someone that my life is together, and that I am truly resilient and someone who can have it together by herself. Maybe, just maybe. Just maybe. Or maybe it's just because I genuinely enjoy it, and because I know that I have memory issues, I do just like to get online and be like, I looked cute today. I looked sexy. Oh, here's a picture of my food. Here's a summary of my evening. And I get to have a blast. And some people have a blast hearing my life summaries, and some don't. Some watch my stories because they think of me as like a cool friend or a bestie in their phone that they can always rely on to always be around. And some just see me as like a show that they watch blindly and don't give a fuck about. Also, it kind of reminds me of how when you go to like a Halloween party, there's always going to be people, like, nothing annoys me more. I've been to Halloween parties where I show up in a costume and then everyone else is wearing like fucking black t-shirts and black jeans and staring at you blindly, and it's like, you don't have a fucking personality or soul, dude. Or I could go to a concert and then the artist is saying, everybody put your hands up and sing along. Do it. And then like a big portion of the crowd last time I went to a concert a few days ago was not putting their hands up, and they were judging me for putting my hands up and waving and singing along. And it's like, you wouldn't even be worried about how my arms are waving in the air if you bothered to as well. You're the ones being weird. Stop trying to convince me. So whenever I'm online and I'm posting stuff and then someone's like, ooh girl, why are you writing all these long ass captions? Nobody gonna read all that. Okay, you aren't, so you can get the fuck out my face. And anyone else is gonna be like, oh my god, I fucking love your captions. If I talk about, if I'm on my Instagram story and I'm posting hella slides, guaranteed there's always going to be one person who watches every single each fucking one and then tells me like the most interesting parts, and I care about that and I cherish that. And like, I guess it's confusing because sometimes those are the people who also don't even want to be talking to me that often, or will send me memes but then not hit me up when I actually am struggling. So it's just a bunch of weird checks and balances, and I guess now it's just like, I'll post what I want when I feel like it, not to impress anybody, but because I genuinely want to. Or maybe to impress people at times. Nothing's wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with going, I look cute today and I want to show off my dance moves on my Instagram story. Or I feel like talking about a fun moment in my life and bragging about it. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, because that's just sharing the human experience and loving it, and that's fine. I guess sometimes I just wish that I had more experiences that felt human. Like kinship, or attention and care. Like, or that the attention was more than just mindless ogling because somebody is bored, and just, I want it to be actual care and interest and dedication. And I want to make sure I'm giving that energy back, so I'm trying to see who I can prioritize in my life to be relied on to do so. And also raise my own vibration up and do, and I guess it's good, like, now that I've been dealing with the whole, oh, nobody cares what I do online or in real life. I've just been like, you know what, I'm gonna wear this outfit then. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do morally questionable stuff, and I'm gonna do the sweet stuff, even if I don't think anyone's gonna clap for me and give me praise for it. I'm gonna write those scripts, I'm gonna dance to those fucking songs, I'm gonna wear the fucking jewelry and the crop tops and the push up bras and do my hair however I fucking want and record myself however I fucking want. Because I'm beautiful and lovable fully inside and out, and those who see it, and those who don't. Those who engage, those who don't, and we will figure it out along the way. Anyway, this reminds me, I gotta message some people. So if you see this, feel free to comment, hey Tamia, go respond to some Instagram messages. Alright, I think I've talked about this enough, but I love myself and I'm embracing who I am regardless of how I think people might perceive me, and I loved it. I went to the concert the other night with my full afro, fully nice and done, skin moisturized, smelling great, fucking embracing who I was fully. I had some people who were like lame ass motherfuckers, but then again, those were the people who were like watching an artist perform with their lips sealed and their hands to themselves, acting like fucking dead bodied NPCs, just brainless and sad and depressing. And I'm not that. I'm the person at the concert who's going to be boogieing and singing and getting lit and bonding with people. And I did, and I had a wonderful time. And then aside from that, I'm also making sure I have fun by myself. Because that's all it is. I remember multiple times in my life, especially between ages like, honestly, most of the time when I was young and especially as a teen, I was fully comfortable just going, you know what, I look like shit today. But I'm gonna like toss on a jacket, go sit in the sun somewhere, and just type on my blogs. I'm gonna listen to some music. I'm gonna have introspective thoughts, and I'm going to rest and relax. And then other days it could be like, it's a beautiful day outside. I'm gonna go with my hair like super nice and afroed up or like slicked down or under a hat, and I'm gonna dress super cute and be nice and stylish and flared up. I've gone to events and I remember I went to this one event. I was one of the best dressed or most overdressed people there, and I was like, okay, I'm getting some stares and I'm feeling anxious, but I'm not here to impress other people. I'm doing this because I know it will make me happy to show up to an event looking nice in an outfit I find cute and sitting front row and enjoying myself. And I had a great time. Comedians made jokes my way. I got a lot of flirtations, a lot of fun. It was amazing. And then another time, I remember specifically that I had, and I'm just making it clear that, like, that's what I think that's what self love is. You have your fucking opinions and your politics and your grounds and beliefs, and you don't let people slip by who are like racist, transphobic, fucked up in the head, like too much. Like, you actually stand your ground and go, no, all my friends, if they're gonna be in my life, they need to be adding to it, not subtracting to it. They shouldn't be making me question my own like belief systems and making me think I should compromise what I believe in all because I want human company. Because it's like, no, I can just enjoy my own company and presence. I can love myself at my perceived best and at my perceived worst. Because even when I've been alcoholic, fucking chugging bottles of Stella Rose wine and just fucking naked, smelling like shit, hair fucked up and matted, dark circles prominent, just goddamn stomach poisoning and bullshit, I still loved myself and saw myself as a work of art and did not abandon myself. I saw myself as lovable no matter what. And then also, the other side, when I have had moments, yeah, it's like I can also love myself and I'm the most overdressed person in a motherfucking Burger King. Which actually, I remember that actually did get me a ton of fucking awkward backlash at that one Burger King in San Francisco on New Year's Eve, like directly before the pandemic, like a few months before. That was awkward. But I still looked good, and I just thought, okay, I'm not the weird one here. Everyone else is weird. It's New Year's Eve, and I'm just like a cute flapper to celebrate 2020. Like, I'm not the weird one. It's all these people who are sitting here in a fucking Burger King on New Year's Eve. And that's just in plain clothes, judging people who are dressed up, being snarky. Those are the weird ones, not me. And I love myself enough to know that. And then there's also, yeah, I love myself enough to enjoy my fashion, enjoy my music, enjoy my taste, my dance moves, everything about it, and I do not need other people around to validate it. If anything, even for this video, I don't expect to get many comments. It'd be nice if I got one, but even if I had 0 comments and like 8 views, I would just be so happy to make this video, and I would love myself fully. And I plan to love myself for the rest of my life, whether I get fat, whether I'm skinny, whether I'm curvy, whether I am bald or have a big luscious head of hair, straightened, curled, whatever the fuck. I plan to love myself regardless and to embrace every change that comes. Like, and that's the beauty of life. It's like, even now, it's like, okay, I'm fucking 23. My boobies have went from here to here. And they're still fucking luscious and beautiful. And then even if one day they were to go towards my knees, I'd still be like, damn, mama, you a whole snack. If I became some sort of decrepit, hag-looking witch lady, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm like the sexy black Willem Dafoe. I'm out here like creeping people out, being the mysterious hag with the fucking skinwalker body and the long gnarled fingers, being like, come into my house. I will give you cookies and tea. And then I don't do anything bad to you. And everyone in the neighborhood's like, yeah, that's just Grandma Tam. She's a little creepy, but she's lovely. She's a great person. I just love myself so much, and I wish everyone had the same amount of self-love I do. Self-love is good. It's like an act of defiance and self-preservation, because you need to be able to love yourself no matter fucking what. No matter what people say about you and talk shit about you. And I don't want to close myself off from other people fully, because I want to also make sure that I'm receiving the blessings of, like, if someone messages me on Instagram and they have something fun to say or nice to say, or they do want to be my friend, I want to give them the option and choice to be lovely, And then worst case scenario, I can insult them and be annoyed for a day or so, but move on with my fucking life. And I just want to give myself room to, like, experience all of humanity, and ideally the best parts, but, like, only allow the best of the best into my world, my circle. No more bullshit, no more snarky, nasty, evil fucking people, just the best of the best. Truly. Those who are compatible with me and make me feel safe and sound. I'm still grateful that I met who I met, because I got to learn that the same people who can be very beautiful can be so ugly as well. And I'm not talking physically, I'm talking about deep in their spirit and their soul. So it's a shame I've had to lose some friends, but at the same time, it's not. I'm actually happy. Because it's like, if you leave a friendship or a relationship and you feel free, like as if you just took off your bra after a long, hot, sweaty day, like, or if removing the friendship out of your life feels like how it feels stepping into like a jacuzzi or a nice cool pool, and like, god, that's how it should feel. That's when you know you left somebody bad, because if you left someone good, you'd be devastated, and you still can be devastated if someone was good but still problematic. Just, anyway, that's about all I have to say for that topic. Just make sure you love yourself. Like, even if right now, if you're watching this and you're like, damn, I haven't showered in like 6 fucking, what the fuck, sorry, there's a fucking fly. It, like, let's say you haven't showered in days and you're like, your apartment's a mess, or you're behind on bills, or you're just tore up from the flow up. You did some fucked up things to yourself or other people in the pursuit of, like, trying to keep friendship or not trying to be lonely. I hope you forgive yourself, and I hope you take actions for both yourself and maybe others to prove that you're a good person and you're trying and you want to make things right. And you can also recognize when people love you and when they don't. I'm going to be talking to some people today, and I'll be narrowing down, like, the level I think they can be a friend at. In worst case scenario, if it's like, okay, she's no longer like a close friend as before, but now she's a writing friend, or okay, he's no longer an absolute bestie, or hey, like, hey, this person, I haven't talked to them that much before, but actually we could be fucking soulmates, and I've been accidentally not talking to them this whole time because I've been too busy worrying about fuck niggas I shouldn't be friends with. That's this type of stuff I hope you think about. I hope you can be the best version of yourself, and it doesn't inherently have to be a version that other people are impressed by. As long as you feel good, that's what matters. Because some people could look at my situation and go, oh my gosh, she's so depressing. But for me, I'm going, I have a roof over my head. It's a beautiful sunny day with fresh air. I'm breathing it in. I feel pleasant and I feel safe. And I have no bad sounds going in my head. And absolutely only the best people around me. And if only the best people are like one single person and then me, that's amazing. God bless. Peace out. Love you. Take care of yourselves.